Welcome to SATV News. This is Chowdhury with the headlines. Combing operation across Bangladesh from today, says Home Advisor. Root out crime and restore public order. Law enforcers have arrested 2 more accused in connection with Shohag killing. Writ Petition seeks the judicial panel to investigate. Reform dialogue consensus reached on curbing abuse of emergency promulgation. Validity the prior approval of the cabinet. With the criminal activities on the rise, the government has launched a nationwide combing operation to root out crime and restore the public order. Home Advisor Jahangir Chowdhury said in this regard. The advisor announced the decision after a meeting on law and order following a series of alarming incidents, including the recent brutal killing of a trader in Dhaka's Midford area. Due to social instability, intolerance and moral decline, the tendency to commit crimes is rising day by day. It is the responsibility of all of us, including law enforcement agencies, to curb this, he told reporters at the Secretariat in this regard. Asked when the combing operation would begin, Jahangir replied, "From now on." The advisor said the government is taking the brutal murder in Midford with utmost seriousness. Out of the 19 FIR name accused, 7 have already been detained. If more people are found involved during the investigation, they will also be brought to justice under the law, he said. No one is being spared on the basis of the political or other identity and will not be spared in the future as well. The police will not spare any criminal, he further said. Law enforcers have arrested 2 more accused in connection with the brutal killing of a scrap metal trader who was beaten to death near the gate of Sir Solimullah Medical College and Hospital in Old Dhaka on July 9th. A team of detectives arrested Shojib Bepari and Rajiv from Netrokona. Joshimuddin, who's the Deputy Commissioner of Lalbagh Division Police, told journalists. With the latest arrest, a total of 7 people have been taken into police custody so far in connection with the murder. On Wednesday, Lal Chand alias Shohag was dragged from his shop in Old Dhaka in broad daylight and beaten to death near the gate of Midford Hospital. His body was then crushed with large chunks of concrete and left on the street as onlookers watched in horror. Following the incident, the victim's sister filed a murder case with Kotwali police station. Investigators collected CCTV footage from the area and carried out drives across the capital, leading to the arrest. A writ petition was filed with the High Court today, seeking its directive on the government to form a judicial commission to inquire into the brutal killing of businessman Lal Chand Mohammad Shohag in Dhaka's Midford area on July 9. A Supreme Court lawyer, Advocate MD Yunus Ali Akund, submitted the petition as a public interest litigation, praying to the High Court to order the authorities concerned to arrest those responsible for the killing and to provide adequate compensation to the family of the victim. In the petition, the lawyer also urged the court to direct the authorities to issue alerts at all border points across the country to prevent the perpetrators from fleeing the country and to take necessary measures to ensure the safety of people's lives and properties. Yunus Ali said, according to media reports, the real killers of Shohag are yet to be arrested. He added that he would attempt to move the writ petition before the High Court tomorrow. National Citizen Party NCP leaders today said they want the Shapla as their electoral symbol with no alternative. They also demanded the removal of the boat symbol from the list of electoral symbols and called for the reconstitution of the current election commission. A 5-member NCP delegations met Chief Election Commissioner CEC Nasiruddin at the EC headquarters in Dhaka at 11 a.m. The delegation comprised NCP Chief Coordinator Nasiruddin Patwari, Chief Organizer South Hasnat Abdullah, Chief Organizer of North Sarjis Alam, Joint Member Secretary Zahirul Alam Musa, and Joint Convener Khalid Saifullah. Speaking to reporters after the 2-hour meeting, Nasiruddin said the EC must be reconstituted before the election and the law under which it was formed needs to be amended in a straightforward manner. He added that the new commission could remain those members of the current EC who have demonstrated competence under a consensus-based system. Asked about the demand for the Shapla symbol, he said, "We have no alternative to the Shapla. Legally, we have seen there is no bar to getting the symbol. If it is denied, we will fight politically." The NCP has submitted its registration application to the EC on June 22nd. Political parties on Sunday reached a consensus over a proposal to change the emergency promulgation provision of the Constitution in a bid to prevent its misuse. According to a participant, the agreement came to the 12th day of the second round reform dialogue of the National Consensus Commission with the political parties at the Foreign Service Academy in Dhaka. A consensus has been reached on the emergency promulgation issue today. Saiful Haq, who is the General Secretary of Revolutionary Workers' Party of Bangladesh, RWPB, told journalists after emerging from the discussion. According to the new proposal, the proclamations of emergency can be issued for 90 days and internal disturbance will be replaced by the threats towards the independence, sovereignty and integration of the state. But such proclamation shall require for its validity its prior approval of the cabinet, the leader of the opposition, or in her absence, the deputy leader of the opposition shall be invited to the cabinet meeting to be held to endorse the decision to declare the emergency, said the proposal. The state of the emergency can be extended for 30 days after the first 90 days, said Abul Hassan Rubel, executive coordinator of Ganoshamhati Andolan, who also attended the meeting during the emergency. Two rights of the citizens, of any citizens, shall not be undermined. These are the right to life and right to protection from persecution, cruel, inhuman, or defamatory behavior or punishment. The government has extended the executive magistracy powers granted to officers of the armed forces by another 60 days, the fifth such extension to help maintain law and order across the country. The extension will take effect on July 14th, the Public Administration Ministry said in a notification issued on Sunday. The armed forces have been deployed with magistracy powers since September of last year. They respond swiftly to any public unrest or attempts to break the law. However, despite their presence under the interim government, several untoward incidents have occurred, including some that resulted in deaths. The powers are first granted on September 17, 2024 for a 2-month term of army officers deployed on the ground alongside law enforcing agencies. Troops had already been deployed across the country even before the Awami League government was ousted by a student-led mass uprising. After the government's fall on August 5th of 2024 and the lifting of the nationwide curfew, the armed forces remained in the field to help stabilize the law and order situation. Later, they also engaged in joint operations. Though initially, the powers were granted to army officers only. A separate notification later extended the same authority to commissioned officers of the Navy and Air Force as well. The government has lost faith in the NBR officials after the strike and they must work to restore it through their actions, said Mohammad Fozul Kabir Chowdhury, Fozul Kabir Khan, advisor to the Power, Energy and Mineral Resources Ministry. Their confidence must be regained through enhanced revenue collection and trade facilitation so that container congestion at ports is eased and goods are cleared swiftly, he said at a press briefing at the Ministry of Power, Energy and Mineral Resources today. Responding to a question on whether the government should ensure officials that no punitive measures could be taken, Khan said there is nothing to reassure. The movement continued for 2 months and the government took no actions. NBR officials are not children. We tried to assure them that their demands would be considered. Khan, who also heads the government forum panel on trade facilitation, industrial policy and revenue issues, said the strike could cause losses to exporters and importers, even if the issue of revenue losses is ignored. Industries advisor Adilur Rahman Khan and Environment, Forest and Climate Change advisor Sayyida Rizwana Hassan were also present during this meeting. The government will refund over Taka 8.28 crore to 4,978 Hajj pilgrims under the government management this year, said Religious Affairs Advisor AFM Khalid Hussain today. This year, we were able to secure accommodation for pilgrims at slightly lower rates than we initially fixed in the Hajj packages. In some cases, service charges were also reduced, he said while speaking at a press briefing held at the Ministry of Religious Affairs at the Secretariat. We have finalized a detailed calculation and will refund the surplus amount to each pilgrim under the government management, he added. In this regard, pilgrims under General Hajj Package 1 were accommodated in houses number 4, 5 and 6. Those who were accommodated in house number 4 will receive a refund of Taka 5,315 each, while short package pilgrims will get back Taka 23,000 27. Besides, those who were accommodated in house number 5 will be refunded Taka 13,570 each under full package, while those who accommodated in house number 6 will receive Taka 5,315 each. Pilgrims under General Hajj package number 2 were accommodated in house number 1, 2 and 3, and those who were accommodated in house number 1 will be given back Taka 19,192 each, and short package pilgrims will get Taka 51,692. Besides, those who were accommodated in house number 2 will receive Taka 21,142, while short package pilgrims will be funded Taka 53,642, and those who are accommodated in house number 3 will receive Taka 24,262. The refund will be directly transferred to the pilgrims' bank accounts as soon as possible, said the advisor. Viewers, we're taking a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching SATV News. News from abroad. President Donald Trump on Saturday threatened to impose a 30% tariff on imports from Mexico and the European Union starting on August 1st, after weeks of negotiations with the major U.S. trading partners failed to reach a comprehensive trade deal. In an escalation of a trade war that has angered U.S. allies and rattled investors, Trump announced that the latest tariffs have separate letters to European Union President Ursula von der Leyen and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum that were posted on his Truth social media site on Saturday. The EU and Mexico, both among the largest U.S. trading partners, responding by calling the tariffs unfair and disruptive, while pledging to continue to negotiate with the U.S. for a broader trade deal before the deadline. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said she was sure an agreement can be reached. She said, "We're also clear on that what we can work with the United States government on, and we're clear on that we can't. And there is something that's never been negotiable, the sovereignty of our country." The U.S. President said the 30% rate was separate from all sectoral tariffs, indicated 50% levies on steel and aluminum imports, and 25% tariff on auto imports would remain. The August 1st deadline gives the targeted countries time to negotiate agreements that could lower the threatened tariffs. Some investors and economists have also noted Trump's pattern of backing off his tariff threats. Iran said today its cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency will take on a new form, expressing a desire for a diplomatic solution to resolve the concerns over its nuclear program. Iran's 12-day war with Israel last month, sparked by an Israeli bombing campaign that hit military and nuclear sites as well as residential areas, rattled its already shaky relationship with the UN nuclear watchdog. The attacks began days before a planned meeting between Tehran and Washington aimed at reviving nuclear negotiations, which have since stalled. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said on Saturday that Iran's cooperation with the IAEA has not stopped but will take on a new form after the Islamic Republic formally ended cooperation with the UN watchdog in early July. Iran has blamed the IAEA in part for the June attacks on its nuclear facilities, which Israel says it launched to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon, an ambition Tehran has repeatedly denied. The United States, which had been in talks with Iran since April 12, joined Israel in carrying out its own strikes on June 22nd, targeting Iranian nuclear facilities at Fordo, Isfahan, and Natanz. Araghchi said requests to monitor nuclear sites will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, taking into account safety and security issues, and be managed by Iran's Supreme National Security Council.
همکاری‌های ما با آژانس بین‌المللی انرژی اتمی متوقف نشده. البته شکل جدیدی پیدا خواهد.
On Saturday, Israeli forces opened fire near an aid distribution point in Rafah, a city in southern Gaza Strip, killing at least 27 and injuring over 180 Palestinians. Amid stalling ceasefire talks, Israeli protesters took Tel Aviv, calling for the Israeli government to end the war. Meanwhile, Israel says it strikes Hamas targets and issued fishing bans on Gaza. Further details in Saim Ahmed's report.
On Sunday morning, Palestinians in Gaza City searched through rubble following an overnight Israeli strike that hit a house, killing several civilians. On Saturday, the Israeli army released a video showing strikes on Hamas targets in Beit Hanun, Gaza. In the caption, they said several fighter jets hit 35 Hamas targets in the area. Around 7 p.m. local time, further explosions were heard in southern Gaza as plumes of black smoke filled the sky. Despite dangers in the south, Palestinians are being forced to travel there to receive food supplies from the only remaining operational aid distribution site. The Israel and USA-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation closed the other 3 sites for renovation on July 9. Yesterday, at the Al-Shakush aid distribution point in Rafah, Israeli forces opened fire on crowds of civilians who were waiting for aid. At least 27 Palestinians were killed and over 180 injured. Eyewitnesses recounted being shot at by snipers near the aid hub. A Palestinian paramedic said most of the shot injuries were in the head or torso. Israeli military also issued a warning yesterday prohibiting swimmers, divers and fishermen from entering the sea, enforcing a total fishing ban, which fishermen say will worsen hunger. Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, Israeli anti-government protesters called for the Israeli government to end the conflict in Gaza and for a deal with Hamas to release hostages. Hamas demands Israel to end the war too, before freeing hostages. However, Israel insists fighting will only end when all hostages are released. Previously, during a Friday night clash, a 20-year-old Palestinian U.S. citizen, Saifullah Musallit, was beaten to death by Israeli settlers in the Israeli-occupied West Bank, after which 23-year-old Hussein al-Shalabi was also shot. Saima Ahmed Shanta, SATV News Desk.
Donald Trump defended the state and federal response to deadly flash flooding in Texas on Friday as he visited the stricken Hill County region, where at least 120 people, including dozens of children, perished a week ago. During a roundtable discussion after touring Kerr County, the epicenter of the disaster, Trump praised both Texas Governor Greg Abbott and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem for the response. Authorities have faced mounting questions over whether more could have been done to protect and warn the residents ahead of the flooding, which struck with astonishing speed in the pre-dawn hours on July 4th, the U.S. Independence Day holiday. Before English 7, took a look at the headlines once again. Combing operation across Bangladesh from today, says Home Advisor, root out crime and restore public order. Law enforcers have arrested 2 more accused in connection with Shohag killing. Writ Petition seeks judicial panel to investigate. Reform dialogue consensus reached on curbing abuse of emergency promulgation, validating the prior approval of the cabinet. You are updated with our top stories here on SATV. To know about the latest news, please visit our website www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.